Virus. Millions of Americans are working from home during the COVID-19 pandemic. Companies are turning to online technology platforms to help employees communicate remotely. One of the leading platforms is Slack. It is a collaboration-based program. Employees can communicate through channels and are able to send messages, share content, and hold audio and video calls. Companies subscribe to the service through a monthly or annual plan. Slack can be used as a mobile phone app or on a desktop computer as well. And joining us right now is the CEO of Slack, Stuart Butterfield. Stuart, thanks very much for joining us. Great to have you. And certainly this is a service that people really need now, working from home more than ever. Have you seen a big impact in terms of demand for Slack?
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you. We have seen an enormous demand, and it's around the world. It's among existing customers who are expanding their usage. It's at the level of individual users who are using it more, and an enormous surge of new teams, new organizations starting to use Slack in the last couple of months.
So what about the privacy issues? I mean, technology companies obviously dealing with privacy concerns. That's the way of the world. Video meeting platform Zoom is facing issues this morning because it was hacked. New reports that thousands of user email addresses and passwords were compromised at Zoom, and now they're on sale on the dark web. So what does Slack do in terms of handling issues of security? And this is, I know that you're a U.S.-based company. Tell me your international arms, if any.
Sure. Well, we have operations in Japan, in Europe. We are an American company, and security has been a key concern of ours since the very beginning. We have customers in the federal government, in the military, all different kinds of corporations around the world. And we look at that from a regulatory and compliance perspective, but also from an information security and kind of internal compliance, employee behavior perspective. It's been a big area of investment for us over the course of many years, and it's one of the reasons that Slack is chosen. One of the organizations we're really proud to support right now is the Department of Veterans Affairs, operator of the biggest integrated healthcare system in the United States, and an organization that, like many others, is doing this, what can be a pretty wrenching transition to working from home for tens of thousands of people who, on Monday were in meetings in the office, and then suddenly on Tuesday are all trying to scramble to work from home.
And you had a group of projects that are vetted. So you've got a whole group creating an organized system of management where you vet things before they're actually unleashed to the public, right? Tell me about the programs.
We work with the customers. So the customers typically will run their own programs and their own internal security and compliance programs, which we're able to support. We have seen an enormous surge in kind of not-for-profit volunteer organizations using Slack, and we have been providing free service to them, including things like Frontline Foods, which is kind of a feeding two birds with one seed, buying food from New York City restaurants and feeding it to the frontline workers in the hospitals. And I think that's operating in a dozen cities or so. But also University of Wisconsin in Madison, researchers working on solutions for the virus, a retirement home called Kensington Place, using Slack to coordinate visits between family members outside and the patients who are inside. So a lot of uses like that.
Mattie Duppler.
Hi, Stuart. Always like to see a UW shout out. I'm a UW alum. But also with Slack, working from home was becoming a much more popular method of work prior to coronavirus. And obviously, your technology allows this to be even more seamless as more people work from home. Where do you think we go from here? What's the future of work after the COVID-19 virus is finally contained?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think that Slack is a channel-based communication or messaging platform, moves messages from individual inboxes to shared channels that are accessible to a wider variety of people. And the result is that people know where to go to ask their question. People know where to go to give their update. People know where to go to get caught up on something. And that obviously makes life easier when you're all suddenly working from home. But I think it really helps with the transition. And so one thing I think we'll see, regardless of the degree to which this increases the number of people working from home or telecommuting, let's say a year or a year and a half from now, is really accelerated digital transformation because I think this proves to people these projects, initiatives, which might be something that you looked at evaluated over the course of months or quarters or even years. When you have to do them overnight, suddenly you can do them. And I think that pushing organizations down this timeline of inevitability is going to have the result that a lot of new software investments, a lot of digital transformation efforts will be accelerated for years to come.
Well, we keep seeing the company grow, so we'll be watching that growth story. Stuart, good to have you this morning. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.